welcome back to another episode of Coffee Meets Vodka. I'm your host, Raya, and I'm handling life one shot at a time. Sit back, relax, let's talk all things pop culture, celebrities, gossip, trends, and let's become best friends. What? I'm just saying what everyone else is thinking. Hey guys, welcome to my interview with Alyssa Polinsky of Stars by Alyssa on Instagram. She is my go-to bravolebrity astrological chart reading girly, and I'm so happy to have you on. Well, I wanted to chat with you really quickly. Hello, we've had clearly some tech issues. I mean, what's a Mercury retrograde without some tech issues?
No,
And I guess while it's just making its way entering the chat, I don't know if let's start with it. I mean, what is going on in the stars astrologically this month?
That's a loaded question. So we have March 2025. We knew, astrologers have been kind of worried about this month for a while. This is the most action-packed month we've had astrologically in a very long time. And
Great.
it is, at least this is the upside. This is the worst it's going to get.
Love that for me.
So starting off in March, we have a Venus retrograde that started on March 1st. We have Mercury retrograde that started on March 15th. We just went through our first lunar eclipse of the year, which was on March 14th. And then we still have a partial lunar eclipse, partial solar eclipse coming up on March 29th. And one more. Actually, there's two more. We're going to have the spring equinox, but it's in the middle of eclipse season. And then on March 30th, we have Neptune moving into Aries, which it hasn't been there since 1867, I believe.
Oh my God.
So it's been a long time since we've seen Neptune in this area.
Wait, also speaking of, how do you feel about just because you brought up the 1800s, how do you feel about the stars aligning to where we're in the Civil War era?
Oh yeah, that is Neptune moving into Aries. It's like one of them, but then also in Uranus, which will be moving into Gemini this summer. Let's see here. In June. Uranus is moving in June to Gemini, which is where the Civil War is. And also, fun fact, World War II.
Oh, it's like, I don't know. Is it like history repeating itself? And now it's like America's turn. Oh my God.
This is what happened. That's what Uranus is for. Like, that's what Uranus does when you don't build something correctly. Between Pluto moving into Aquarius and fully being there this year, like it's been dipping in and out the last couple of years, but now it's fully in Aquarius for the next, 20 years. It will be between that and then this Uranus, where really America is looking at its foundation and how we were built. And, you can't build a country on a house of cards and stolen land.
Right. Yeah, fuck, now I just want to go down that rabbit hole, but I'll keep it light. Okay, fine. But I am like, yeah, it's, I don't want to be all like, oh, it always comes back to astrology, but it like really always does. I'm sorry. If people would really just like pay attention more and like recognize the patterns, like I just feel like it's a cheat code to life. And especially like if you just in your personal life, and you want to break down like the 12 months and also like the signs. Virgo season, great season to clean shit out, to get organized. Sag season, very, hello, party season. I love that, to be honest. It's holidays and like whatever. And, if you just kind of and I know a lot of business people, they break it down by the quarters, like, first quarter, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck, I'm drowning and it's already March, but I think people would be better off. But.
No, it is a life hack. I mean, I use astrology I started off was because I wanted to better understand myself. I needed to put words to the
Oh my
parts
God,
of
that is my journey too. Sorry. Go ahead.
that's good. No, it's to put words to the parts of me that I wasn't able to fully express, and now I have the vocabulary and to be able to say these different parts of who I am, but I didn't really consciously know how to express that I was this many other layered facets. Our sun sign is just our ego, but our rising sign is how we enter this world. It's how people meet us. It's how people perceive us. So we have we're really usually working off of our rising sign more than we are our sun. That our rising signs were the way we referred to people pre 1930s fashion magazines, because fashion magazines are what started doing the horoscopes by the month, because not everyone had the ability to have a birth chart, but most people knew what month they were born. So that is what started sun sign astrology to be mainstream, because it democratized it so much. And then the other one I really always look at is the moon sign, because that is our emotions. So how you react to things when you're upset, how to deal with that, how to take care of that, how to nurture that part of yourself.
And, I truly ask everybody on this show, but you're a Scorpio. What's your moon and rising?
Scorpio sun, Aries moon, Leo rising. My chart's all fire mostly.
Oh, that's so interesting. I have one Pisces friend and she has like a Leo stellium. I attract a lot of stellium people. But I'm a Sagittarius sun, Pisces moon, Sag rising. Very passionate, very emotional. Cancer Mars.
You can't, oh God. You've been going through it then.
Thank you. I really have.
Because this Mars retrograde that started December 6th just ended in February. And that is all over. It was going between the beginning degrees of Leo and then back into Cancer. So the Mars has been going back and forth on your Mars for like a solid amount of time right now, which is tough. Anyone who I've read recently who's had a Mars in Cancer, they've been really feeling this one.
Thank you. I will say 2025 is supposed to be, fingers crossed, the year of financial rewards for Sagittarius. I feel like in my work, I feel like I can't have it all. I'm going to kill myself. I feel like in my work, I am like so busy and like everything's moving and grooving. And the personal life, it's like, fucked up, and then vice versa. You know what I mean? Didn't you post something that this Venus retrograde did something with your coworkers or work relationships? You posted something. I said, oh my God, me fighting with everyone the last 2 days. Oh my God, Capricorn Venus. But you posted something.
It's just when Venus is retrograde, we are really, really looking at our relationships. We're reviewing our relationships. So it is a very big part of, realizing that sometimes, things need to evolve, things need to change, that you want different things. So this is, through relationships, it can be, romantic, it can be career, like it can be through all of these different ways that we have partnerships, that you really need to look at what's going on in those interpersonal relationships. So, that's kind of a lot of times when we see things that are not as great, or we see things a lot different, and we're changing our viewpoint on those relationships because they needed to be changed. And that's what retrogrades are all about. They're all about the rule of re's and the review, rewind, look at, all of those different terms we are looking at. So, Mercury retrograde is about our communication, our technology, so anytime we have a Mercury retrograde, you're usually feeling that, delays and, transportation, delays in computers. My favorite thing is Apple always loves to send an update during Mercury retrograde. God. And I'm like,
God. Yes, I just updated my phone 2 days ago. Oh my God.
I don't know why why Apple can't figure out to not do it during Mercury retrograde. There's 3 times a year for 3 weeks. Can we just not get an Apple update for those times? They usually mess up.
I know. Yeah, and then you have to go to the Apple store and then like reset it and stuff. I have had to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I love the history of that. I appreciate it. I want to get into how you appeared on Summer House. How did you get to go in and read everybody?
Okay, so what happened was,
What
um,
happened?
so my account, my Instagram account is where this is all stemmed from, because I just, make astrology Bravo memes, and then I slide into the DMs of every bravolebrity asking them for their birthdays.
I love that.
And so, I just kind of built relationships with people through that, and Danielle, as someone who I've really built a really great friendship with. And so I was reading for her privately with some friends, and she invited Gabby over. Then I read privately for Gabby, and then Gabby was having her witchin' and bitchin'
Mhm.
party at the summer house, which was what I was filmed in. And so
Mhm.
she invited me to come do that. So then that's when I came out there and did the reading for everyone.
I love that because that was so me coded, I have to tell you. And Gabby going around, it was like looking in a mirror. And my friends are always like, or guys, or my friends, like when I go on dates, they're like, oh, why did you ask him his name? And then like what his sign is and his chart and shit. I'm like, one, I'm not going to waste my time. But it was like looking at me in the mirror. Gabby walks in. She's like, hey, Carl, what's your sign? Hey, Paige, what's your sign? Hey, Amanda, what's your sign? Like, I'm like, that's literally me. Um, and I loved that theme a lot because
Mhm.
it just is right up my alley. So now we know the demise, unfortunately, of Craig and Paige. But during that time, there was talks about, or in your reading, from what I remember, that
Yes.
somebody was supposed to be moving.
Yeah.
Somebody was supposed to be moving, right?
Yeah.
Either
So
one.
I did the pendulum with Paige, and it said that Craig would move to New York and Craig would propose by the end of this year. So those were in his intentions, but when someone else's intentions change,
Right.
you know, that is
Fate
the
can
shift.
change.
Fate, people's what they want changes. So, at the time I think that was what Paige wanted, but that's not what she wanted, at the end. And you can see, I think, clearly through all the shows that they're on, between Southern Charm and Summer House, that, obviously, they were growing in different directions, because that happens with people.
Yeah, and you think they're so compatible. Like you
Yes, their
you you
charts.
ride for them. And I want to know more about this because she's a Scorpio and he's an Aquarius.
Yeah, so Scorpios and Aquariuses are good compatibility. They're both fixed signs. But so he's an Aquarius sun, a Scorpio moon, and a Libra rising. So Venus is his chart ruler, which I think is important about Craig. And then Paige is a Scorpio sun, um, Pisces moon, Aquarius rising. So the way she enters life through her Aquarius rising, you know, uh, Craig lives, his sun is there in her rising. So, like, that compatibility of his ego and her way of moving through life, that makes it very compatible. His emotions meet her sun. So, like, there's the
Mhm.
compatibility there. And then, he's got a Libra. He's got a Libra rising, and she's got a Pisces moon. So he has like that kind of, need for, partnership, fairy tale, that's what Libras want. They really strive for that, like, beautiful partnership, love. That's what they want in a Pisces moon. They want the fairy tale too. They're very much a big part of like wanting that beautiful, nice, romantic fairy tale. And so I think, to me, had very compatible charts. This is why I always say I don't really love using astrology for compatibility,
Mhm.
because I prefer to use astrology as a tool to make ourselves grow. And the more that you know yourself, and the better that you understand yourself, and the more that your vibrations are higher, and the way that you move through life more confident, you're going to attract the people who mirror that energy back to you. And I
Ah,
think
amen.
that's how I prefer to use astrology. Yes, we can look at it for compatibility. Yes, you can really deep dive into it. Very important in compatibility as well. But you know, it, you're taking one part to another part. You're really looking at the full charts of both people, and the the difference between our charts are a flat surface. You know what I mean? They're just a piece of paper that we're looking at.
Mhm.
But the thing that makes them come alive is our life, our lived experience. And if you don't have the person with their lived experience of how they have gone through life and how they have moved, then you don't really, there's no life to that chart. You know, you're the secret sauce to the chart.
I love that. That was so beautiful. Do you, yeah, and I agree with you. Like, obviously, we're seeing the relationship play out on multiple shows, Southern Charm and Summer House, and it's starting to unravel. And I do think we would have seen it, I think, without even knowing if they broke up and, things like that. But I think knowing that they ultimately broke up, I think we're able to like kind of see that more.
Yeah.
But I'm just getting my personal take. I think I told you this. Like, I think that they dated 2 years too long. I'm in no way judging at all. Like, I think
Yeah.
if the relationship is still serving you and you're still happy and it's working, babe, go for it. I'm just saying, like, as an armchair expert, like, it's always
We
fucked
all
up
are.
when we all are. And it's always fucked up. It's like, oh, me and so and so break up. Yeah, well, I never saw it long term. Okay, bitch, why didn't you say something first of all? And
Yeah.
then second of all, it's like, well, why did you say something, bitch? Like, I was happy. You know what I mean? So it is like a lose situation. But I
Yeah.
do love that. I think Paige said this on Giggly Squad that she was like, Craig really helped her grow and like accepted her job. And I think that is so important because I don't listen to Giggly Squad religiously, but I date a lot of guys who are like, oh yeah, bright and shiny thing. And then they're like, hey, I want you to quit everything. And I want you to like live in a cave and like do dishes and do my laundry. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, no, like, and they just don't ever support my job. And they're like, oh, you should not do the podcast. This is so silly. I had a guy tell me one time, like, oh, I think it's like so stupid that you want to move to LA to act, like get a real job. Bitch, that is a real job. You know what I mean?
Go fuck yourself. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, please cuss.
Okay.
And please also say that, but I am glad that, and I do think it's true that like when the relationship is serving you, and especially being long distance, I think if they would have lived together for a year or year and a half, like it probably wouldn't have gone as long. Doesn't matter. It played out the way it was supposed to play out. And I'm glad that they both learned something. Now, I did think, and I knew, I'm like, oh my God, drinking the Craig Kool-Aid. I love Craig, and he has grown a lot. They
Yeah.
both have. Like,
Yeah.
and who would have thunk it that Craig would be the superstar? Okay, but I know him right back to being petty and right back to being all this stuff, which is the Libra rising. I just know it.
Oh yeah, Libra risings are. I mean, Libras are petty AF.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's just no part of a Libra like they clock things. They know what's going on, and they have a full repertoire behind them of what they're going to do. Especially also Aquariuses. Like he's an Aquarius sun. Aquariuses are grudge holders to the max, and they just as much as Scorpios, all the fixed signs are grudge holders. Like they want it's their way or the highway, and that's just the way it works. So between those two things, and I mean, for me, it was tough watching Southern. Well, no, it was Summer House or Southern Charm.
I know
Anyway,
they also with S's.
I can't remember. But when Craig was telling Paige, that she would have to cut back on her job. That was the one time I had I had a real big issue because I'm like, she's thriving, she's doing so amazing, she's doing a good job. Like you can't tell someone not to that they're going to need to stay home and just exactly what you just said. You know what I mean? Stay home. I want to freaking raise
you in the
kids.
backyard. Yeah, like I want to keep you in the basement and like you're only mine. Now, wait. Speaking of, how do you feel about Joe Bradley trying to do that to Maddie as her career is on the rise?
Oh yeah, that's a real complicated issue, I think. Because my red flags were going off so bad for that. I mean, my red flags are already up about Joe Bradley for reasons, but getting so controlling. So wait,
because Danielle, he was dating Danielle,
and she was sitting front row at that Countess Luann thing, like that. Watch What Happens Live. Yeah,
that's
It was shitty.
Fun.
It was really fucked up, and then he continued. He went on, I saw the Page 6 virtual reality that he was doing with Kyle and Carl. And he just went on there and talked shit about her and kept going, our relationship, in fucking air quotes. And I really wanted to go up there and punch him in the face. But
probably, well, you couldn't, because
anyway,
these Joey bottles, it's his moneymaker. He got upset when he hit his head on the pool.
He's a Leo. I can't remember his full
I'll tell you, because I stalk your page so much. He's a Leo sun, Taurus moon. And I know he's a Taurus moon because, okay, the way that him and Maddie are both Leos.
Yeah.
Like, it gives me such Sagittarius energy. Like, and I mean, above all, her aura is purple. Like, she has a purple aura for sure, through and through. But like, I was actually kind of surprised that I think her moon is in Aries, or her rising is in Aries.
Yeah. He's got an Aries moon, a Libra rising. And he's a Taurus moon, Gemini rising.
Oh, Gemini rising. I do love a Gemini rising. I'm so toxic.
I mean, Gemini risings are that's why he's going out there saying everything that he wants to say. You're not going to hold back. Yeah. They're going to say exactly what they're thinking. When you have a Gemini placement, that's just what happens,
Yeah.
they're out there to talk. Yeah, no, the Leo part where they both have this need for the spotlight, and for them it actually is fame. I always say with Leos, it's not necessarily about fame, it's about being seen. But when you're on reality television, like, it really does come down to this like actual fame part that is so characteristic of Leo, and
right.
Maddie has done so much to, I think, improve herself and to become such a well-rounded adult, and yeah, the controlling factor to me was just such a big red flag, of not good, because I think that's just a matter, like, I felt like he was trying to diminish her, and I didn't like that feeling.
Totally. And I think he's like, milking this Vegas wedding, and like, I just had like the ick about it. And like,
yeah, it was,
go ahead.
As somebody who's like, I've been in really terrible relationships, it's just somebody who's been in real terrible relationships, you can see these are like actual like controlling moves. Like, we actually got married, why didn't you come spend the night up here? Like, why didn't you do, like, those are like the things that are going to eventually become like a lot more realistic down the road. These are just the precursors, and they're not great.
And also, it's giving, like, how it's giving like a show. And I date a lot of guys like this with like green auras, but you can't have this mask up for too long. Like, they're like, oh, Ray's going to give in. And like, I don't. And neither is Maddie. And I'm so glad she's like staying strong in her boundaries when he's like, I think we should move in together. And he's like, first of all, why doesn't he have a car?
Oh man, that's like a red flag also. You live in Charleston and you don't have a car?
You don't have a car? You're Ubering? And first of all, as somebody who dates people who, don't have cars, it is a red flag, bitch. And like, I get it. You live like right across the street from your work. But what else? Like,
but it's Charleston. Like,
yeah, I mean, I haven't been, but Houston is not very walkable either. This isn't New York. Like, I'm sure you probably have that one strip, that King Street, and that's it. That's like walkable.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, the downtown area, I've been there once, and it is like pretty walkable down there. So if he's really living in that downtown area, maybe they only have parking in like garages. So then you would have to pay for parking. But usually, like, I think apartments, I don't know. I don't live in a world with cars. But they
Love in New York, rub it in.
But it seems like if you rented an apartment in a place that probably would have parking provided, I would think.
Right. Or also don't live there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, find somewhere else to live. And like, Madison LaCroix lives on Daniel Island, and so does Maddie and a few other people. So it seems like it's probably expensive, but it seems like it's a happening place. So figure it out. I don't know. But like, I don't know if it's mismanaging, but like the being, like, just like constantly spending money on like Ubers and stuff. Like, I'm like, that's not very,
it's just
like,
so smart.
Yeah, like what are you saving for? How are you saving for a future? And you want a future with me, but you're like spending money willy-nilly and we work at a bar. Like he's not even sober, which I'm not saying, I think that's actually so great that Maddie can work in that environment, be so grounded, be like so sure of herself and have friends that drink and stuff and it doesn't trigger her. But if you were my partner and I seriously wanted to marry them and like have a future with them, I would want our lifestyles to match. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's very hard to have, I think we saw this play out with Carl and Lindsay too, to have one person who's sober and another person that's not. Like, you're not because either
Oh,
one is right or wrong, but like it's just the fact that, it is different lifestyles. It makes you even
right.
more clear different boundaries of things that you can and cannot do. And
Absolutely.
I just think that makes it hard on a relationship. I think, yes, sober people and non-sober people can be together, but like, I think that's totally fine. But I think you just have to look at, the person who drinks, how that's a part of their life.
Yeah. Like, is it socially? Is it, and by
Yeah.
socially, I mean like kind of once in a while? Is it socially 3+ times a week? Is it every weekend? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I get it. Like, she's a DJ and stuff, but so like they are in that like party lifestyle, but I don't know. I don't know. So what do you think about their compatibility like long term? Do you see this
I mean,
going the
my
distance?
ideas are skewed at this point. At this
Right.
point, I don't want to say any Bravo couple is going to stick together.
I know.
It's just like a lost cause at this point. But
It really
yes,
is.
a Taurus moon and an Aries moon, that's going to be tough because, Aries moons are going to fly off the
It,
handle,
and
you
it's
know,
I feel like a constant
yeah, because
um
Tauruses aren't going to want to give in, and Leos don't want to give in. Like what I was saying about fixed signs earlier. Fixed signs are stubborn AF. They really,
yeah.
really are. And it's something you have to really work hard at. And I'm sure anyone who's got a lot of fixed placements out there can say, like, yeah, I don't want to ever give in, or I've worked really, really hard in a lot of therapy and gone through relationships where I've now learned how to let go of the reins a bit.
Right, right. And I just feel like they both want power and I think I think Joe will probably lose in the end if there is an end, just because I think he's more invested than Maddie, which to be
Yeah.
honest, it should be like that. The
Well,
guy should like you more.
yeah, and they both have air risings, so they both have the ability to speak. And they have the matching risings, they have the matching suns, which is nice. And then it's just when it comes to the fighting, that's really where it's like, can they get past in that fighting area? Because I think a lot of their stuff does align, but
Hmm.
then it's just that kind of area where it's like, what happens after a fight? How are you able
Right.
to handle it? you know
Now, speaking of fighting, oh my God, what about Emmy and Will?
Oh my God, their charts are off the wall. Like they're so compatible, those two.
I think they're twin flames.
They're born, they were born on the same birthday, right?
I didn't know it was the same birthday, but
It's the same birthday. Yeah, and they're like, I mean, like,
same year.
no, different years, but
Okay.
they're both Capricorn risings. They
Hmm.
are both Pisces suns.
Worst.
And
I'm a hater.
and hold on, which one? Emmy is
One of them's a
Emmy.
Virgo. One
Yeah,
of them's a
Emmy.
Capricorn moon.
Emmy is the Virgo moon and Will is the Pisces moon. So
Oh, Pisces moon.
A Virgo moon is a full moon and a Pisces moon is a new moon. So their moons are exactly opposite of each other. So those are good compatibility, and it's like very manifesting full energy, kind of how full moons and new moons work. We're letting go of things during new moons. We're bringing things where, we're we're like, no, we're letting go during full moons and we're manifesting during new moons. And so that they ability there too. And so like they really have great compatibility. I keep thinking that if Will actually leaves the show, and Emmy gets, she's got that, she wants to be a star. She's got star quality. um, I mean, she brought it this season. However anyone feels
Yeah.
about their relationship, she made the season. So,
She said, I'm going. Oh,
I mean, the running mascara thing was
I was about to say,
fantastic.
whoever, like, she needs a mascara ad stat, baby. Too Faced, CoverGirl, L'Oreal,
Yeah.
get your coin. I don't even know what kind of mascara she uses. I've never had my mascara run like that. It must be like $5 Wet n Wild. It's whatever mascara Erica Jane is using.
Yes, the same one.
She probably slid in her DMs. Hey, what mascara do you use? I need to cry on TV. Like, I mean, she did. She definitely brought it. Here's my thing. The group was so obsessed with like, and maybe this is because they're young, right? They're so obsessed with like trying to prove that Will is cheating, and Emmy doesn't give a fuck. If Emmy doesn't give a fuck, let him cheat. Like, if she's okay with it, let them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mel Robbins that shit. Like, if she's not caring, I understand it's your friend, but your friend wants to bury your head in the sand. So like, unfortunately, that's the bed that she's gonna lay in if the rumors are true. And fuck it.
The thing
It's
is,
her life.
yeah, everyone knows you can't tell someone to get out of a relationship. The
Right.
person who's in the relationship is the only person, there's two people in the relationship. They're the only two people who can decide to leave a relationship, and people can put their 2 cents in, people can say things, but in the long term, it's those two people. And so once you find out where they stand, then you got to move on. And they should have just moved on from it. But also they're making a television show, that's
but I
part of it.
feel like it's a bit Scandival in the sense like, oh my God, I'm getting waterboarded.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, who cares? Like, I do wish the season wasn't fully just surrounding them, although I guess what else would there be? But I don't know if there was other storylines that got cut.
Yeah.
Grace Lilly, I think, is a horrible friend. Liker, another fellow Pisces moon with the stars and the fairies and the whatnot that, I do, but I do think I see myself and my friendships in the same dynamic that Maddie and Grace Lilly have. Like I'm a Maddie and I feel like I'm surrounded by Grace Lilies. And I don't know, and luckily maybe Maddie only has one. I feel like I have more. And I don't know how to like change that picker direction. It's kind of always been an issue. It also happens with, relationships, but like the friends are the ones that like kills me because I'm like, fuck, like you're supposed to be my girl.
Yeah, and
Hello.
you're doing horrible back. It was definitely something I had to work through, choosing the wrong friends. But I think it's a part where you start to recognize the patterns, just like everything, there's patterns in everything. And once you start seeing it and you start seeing somebody for their inability to show up and not be there, that's really what it is. It's like, if somebody does something really crappy to you, take it for who they are. If they don't stand up for you, take it as that's for who they are. You know what I mean? And it's just like same thing that's going on with Garcelle and Sutton right now. Sutton, Garcelle's always standing up for Sutton and Sutton not, standing back up for Garcelle in the same way. These are the things that are like, when you see those things play out, those dynamics play out, that there's something off and you have to be able to like realize it and be like, okay, I'm not choosing that again.
No, I totally agree. Can we talk about West and Ciara? I'm actually love my girl Ciara, but I'm actually surprised that she made it so far. And I'm actually surprised that they were like hanging on that she was a traitor because she was like, fuck you, I'm like in the coffin. But anyways, I didn't think she was like super great on traitors, but whatever. I'm like very obsessed with traitor. This season was a flop for me.
Yeah, the season was not like, I'm sorry, but no one can be, had they not Wives day one, like it would have been so much better. I'm sorry, Dorinda and Robin, like Dorinda's an Aries moon, Robin's an Aries sun. You know what I mean? Like those women bring it. And Chanel Ayan as a Sagittarius, we don't know anything else about her chart. She's gold. And I'm sorry that they got so afraid of the Phaedra thing that they voted everyone off. And it just kind of ruined the show, I think, for the rest of it.
No, I totally agree because the way that all of us were fucking high. And maybe I'm just on the Bravo side. I don't know. Like, whatever. Gamers, I mean, sure. Like, hello, that was our OG reality TV. Like, come on. We're,
Yeah.
but we've moved on. But like, we were so hype about like Dorinda and Dolores and Chanel Ayon and like just all the Bravo people. And I'm like, hey, what's funny about this? And then we got fucking Danielle, the worst trader of all times. I would never play a game with her. I literally, if I was NBC or whoever the fuck makes these games, fire her ass. The way that like the traders started going even at each other, and like I didn't know Rob because I never like watched Survivor or whatever.
Yeah.
But Rob was like, he was doing it in a sense that like, yeah, it was kind of trader on trader, but only because Bob the drag queen came for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then he did it. And then Danielle was like, oh, I'm going to do what Rob did. And oh my God.
It was,
and then she's like,
it was a mess.
Carolyn. And I hated that. Anyway,
So
sorry.
I do enjoy the fact though that Ciara and Dolores are both Capricorn suns and Capricorn moons. And they're getting the business done. They
really are.
They really. I mean, Dolores, ended up winning.
I know. Like, I'm so proud, and I was also so proud for Dylan, and I was proud for all of them. Gabby, even Ivor, whatever. Yeah. But I was like, oh my God, Dylan, because it's like Pilot Pete 2.0. I'm like, yay, Pilot Pete won. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but like back to Wes and Ciara. Obviously, this season of Summer House is like pretty uncomfortable. Just given them, and I do think Wes really has a psychotic ego. Like, babe, it's like Jimmy Neutron in this bitch. Like, deflate.
Well, I have met Wes
like
quite a few times, and so I actually really like Wes. He's like one of the nicest humans I've like met. Bravo people. He is very appreciative. He's very like, he comes up and like, always says hi. He's a very good person. So my image is, it's hard for me because like I understand them personally a little bit. But the way that everything played out, was kind of shady. And I think he's admitted to that as well.
Yeah.
But finding out that he was a Scorpio rising is also, I think, says a lot. He's a Capricorn sun with a Scorpio rising and a Sagittarius moon. So
I was going to say, I see the Sagittarius for sure. I just know if I was in that summer house, we'd be he and hawing. Like Wes would be my best friend.
Yeah. He's just, I mean, he's secretive. He understands the game. I think he's a Capricorn. He understands the platform. He's using it to his advantage. He doesn't want to do something bad, but then he did. It was kind of a mess. It is a kind of Sagittarius moon situation.
Yes. And I do think Capricorns are a little secretive, in my opinion, as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also they have the secretive plus the they don't want to be the bad guy either. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, they want to be like a boss ass bitch in business. But I do think there's like a way that Capricorns are that are just like they're secretive. And then they also kind of like manipulate the situation a little bit to where they don't ever want to feel like a bad guy. Because I do think
that's very Earth sign.
Earth, yeah. Because Virgo's exact same way. Virgos care so much about what other people think. I couldn't give a shit less. So I could probably care a little more.
Yeah, I mean, I think you see that play out with both of them. Capricorns don't want to show their cards in the same way that Scorpios don't. But Capricorns, it's for more. I think sometimes Scorpios have that the need for the secrecy because they are a water sign and there's a protection layer there for them. But Capricorns, it's to, protect their building, And so I think in both Ciara and both Wes are both Capricorns. So, either one giving into those situations. She's also a Capricorn moon and he's a Sagittarius moon. So that's kind of going to be a rough go at it. And she's a Libra rising and he's a Scorpio rising. So that's also kind of like rough goes because Scorpios and Libras both want their way too, and they both have different ideas. she's Venus ruled and he's Plutonian ruled. So like that's a big difference in
Right.
how you're going to see the
How you move
world.
through life. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
that's where
totally
she
agree.
does, where Ciara, I think we see this undertone of need for relationships and, all these years with her, and she's definitely one who I can't wait to see one day actually pick the right person,
I
because
know.
I want that for her. But she
Yeah.
is Venus ruled. She does see the world with those kind of, that just the same way with Craig, they want that relationship. They want that commitment. And they're both, that's why I think they get along so well, those two, is because they actually kind of are moving through the world in the same way. That's what happens when you have matching rising signs.
I love that. I want to end on one note. Okay, I need you to astrologically explain to me about Carl Radke. I want to know why we're on Carl 8.0 and why and again, I don't every time I talk about Carl, I got to cut some shit out because I have a Scorpio a Scorpio Mercury, so I'd be a little spicy with my words sometimes. But I obviously I want the best for Carl. I just think he is so inauthentic to me. There is something, and also I have my Mercury is Scorpio in the 12th house. So like I just feel like when people are really inauthentic like that and like just again putting on this facade and like Lindsay got a lot of hate actually, I think she got a lot of love last season about her relationship with Carl, but everything she said was everything that I would say. And she probably said it slightly nicer because she knows him,
Carl, I have to like, I'll preface this. Every time I meet Carl, he's also very nice, but his, I just feel like I have to throw that out there.
Yes.
But he's an Aquarius sun. He's got a Gemini rising and an Aries moon. Okay. Gemini rising is going to like the idea of choices and what they can and can't do and what they can and cannot say it's a huge part of your life. And then as a fellow Aries moon, I can sit here and tell you the tempers that live within an Aries moon are some of the most dark things that can probably happen, and it's something you have to learn how to control, because honestly, like it's that like extremism that happens with Aries moons, and like flying off the handle and like going to extremes, and it is part of that where you just like, you kind of blow up. So, and then he's also an Aquarius sun. So that part where it's just like my way or the highway also is a big part of it. So when you add this all together, it just feels, it's very explosive, and you just don't know what you're going to get.
But don't you think, okay, and I agree. Don't you think he did not come off that way last season or multiple seasons in the past? I think he's very aware about perception, which I think is fine. Yeah. And I think he's very aware of cameras. I feel like he absolutely did gaslight Lindsay when they were in the lift, when they were in the Uber.
Oh yeah, me too.
Around, all that stuff. But Lindsay had enough balls to do it on camera. Like that's why. Like
that's the Aquarius coming through. Hold on, I'm trying to get his other signs.
I think so too, and that is what I have issue with. It's giving fraud to me. It's giving, and I don't doubt that he, and that's what I'm saying too. Like. Go ahead.
All right. So he has a Mercury Capricorn, and his Venus and Mars are both in Pisces. So having that need,
Mars Pisces, fucking mean.
That's a tough Mars. That's a tough Mars.
Emotional damage. Like that is some evil genius type manipulation shit. Like that's bad. That's really bad. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's your action and aggression and how you do things. That's how you're, choosing that, that's the way that you come off, like when you're firing, and that passive aggressiveness that comes with Pisces, but then also at the same time, Pisces will say exactly what needs to be said sometimes. But then the Capricorn Mercury, that actually is what I think you were saying about knowing that the cameras are there and when to talk and when not to talk. That's Capricorns. They're strategic. They know what's going on. They're like very aware. And so his ability to talk and on and off camera, where he's choosing to like throw things and where he's choosing not, that is a very big part of Capricorn Mercury.
Yeah. And I just think I have issue with this. And I don't doubt that Carl isn't nice. Like I sure, like everybody's nice, like when they want to be and whatever. Like, I don't think anyone is like, an asshole, just like, especially on that cast, like, like I think
everyone on the cast they're nice.
Yeah. But my issue is just like, but I know like you're being fake and you're hiding a part of yourself, and that's fine. But like, say it. You know what I mean? Like don't sit here and gaslight Lindsay and say like, oh, well, oh my God. Okay, Lindsay, I'm just having like a lot of feelings right now. And I can tell he's fucking fuming because of the anxiety breaths that he's taking, that he is about to flip a fucking lid and he like won't, which I guess it's good to have control, but he doesn't have control when the cameras aren't around is my issue. You know what I'm saying? It's like, are you really going to therapy and like working on that stuff? And again, I know I'm not sitting here trying to judge or kick somebody when they're down. I've been through a lot of shit. You've been through a lot of shit. He's been through a lot of shit. Like we've all experienced grief, and people grieve in different ways. And he's had, he has been open and vulnerable about his addiction issues and the drinking. And sure, do I think soft bar, like, yeah, I mean, Lindsay doesn't want to be with, Lindsay's almost 40. Carl's 40 something, babe. Like, we don't want to be with people who are like, I don't know, I'm just still figuring it out. Like, thank God you finally opened Soft Bar. Mind you, hid that ad. I'm like, no, thank you. Is Soft Bar not just a restaurant, babe, with mocktails? Whatever. I'm not going to knock it. I'm loving the sober movement. I've joined a run club.
Oh my God.
I've started Class Pass. So... Anywho, but yeah, I'm glad you explained it, because like I feel crazy and I felt like alone in this world. So
I mean, Carl has some tough placements, and he has tough placements, and he's had tough things happen. And I think there's a lot of therapy and a lot of things that need to be worked through completely. And I think, to me, when watching back this season, you could see that he still feels new in his sobriety journey in a way, where he was almost like with Whitney on Salt Lake City, on her healing journey. Her healing journey. Carl felt very similar in that respect of, using those terms as ways to like weaponize or gaslight situations.
Just about to say that, like weaponizing therapy speak. And I think I also have big issue with that.
Yeah. And which I think they're both kind of guilty of that, but that's also because they're in the beginning of their, therapy. They both have been through massive things, which is fine, but don't weaponize that against other people. I think that's kind of like, that's a tough part.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, Alyssa, I've probably kept you way too long. I do apologize. I'm long-winded. But it's been a pleasure having you on. And
it's so nice to actually see your face.
I know. Hello. I feel like we're going to be friends. I have another girlfriend. Oh, I think you might know her, Amanda Bella.
Yes. Amanda. Yes. I hang out with her all the time. I love her.
God, I'm so excited. Okay, I must go to New York this summer then. Because
we went to Montauk together.
Oh my God, do you have room for a third? Because I literally,
Yeah, we went out there and we partied in Montauk together.
Oh my God, I love that. Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to have to come this summer because she's been begging me. She's been begging me to come out there. She hasn't, but she has opened the door. So I definitely want to take her up on that offer. And then obviously I'll hang out with you too. But I have appreciated you so much coming on the pod. Please tell everybody where they can follow you.
Follow me on Instagram at starsxalyssa. Okay, I have a real quick plug, but it's next year, but I have a book coming out that is about defining your personal style through your astrology chart. And it gives you a whole history lesson of fashion through the planet Neptune, and then how to help define your own personal style so we can get out of the mass trend world and start shopping the secondhand market more.
Yes. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. I will definitely pre-order. I love that so much. And when you do have a pre-order link, we'll put it in the show notes and everything like that. So thank you so much. Everybody
Thank
go follow
you.
her. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.